Basically, as a city, I think the biggest thrust that we are pursuing is a smart city that is anchored on smart service delivery. And the coming in of LADs, it has really changed the service delivery narrative from the traditional mode to the new trend, which is in line with our smart city model. The customer relationship management module, it has really changed the citizen engagement process, as residents are now part and parcel of the process from reporting their complaints until the issue is resolved. And what the system entails is that we capture the details of each complaint, and it sends automatically a message to the complainant, and in the same process it also transmits the same message to our artisans on the ground, indicating the nature of the query, be it water-based, be it sewer blockage, which needs to be done. In the system, it gives you a drop-down where you'll be completing the different stages until the issue is resolved. But the major highlight is that you cannot resolve a query before you conduct the complainant. So you realize that the new system, despite the element of increasing the element of openness and transparency, it also brings residents and stakeholders to follow through their complaints from the initial process until it is resolved. Those are some of the issues which have really changed Mutare in terms of stakeholder engagement, which is in line with also our core values of openness, transparent, accountability. So you realize that the LAD system, it is increasing the manner in which we are interfacing with our residents. It is also increasing even in terms of our brand visibility, as we are opening up ourselves to engage and get input from residents as and when they have issues of concern or of compliment. With the new CRIM, each department will be able to measure its own performance, whether you are resolving the complaints in time or out of time. It can also indicate whether you have adequate manpower to deal with the complaints. So it points a lot of deficiencies in the system at a departmental level. But the good thing, you do self-evaluation internally. You don't need anyone to spell it out. Yes. So I think that is one of the biggest challenges, and it cuts across whether it's HR, it's engineering, it's health in terms of their service delivery provision. If they don't have enough manpower, the system will show, because they will not be able to cope with the number of complaints in terms of the response time that we are expected.
We have adopted LADs, and the first module we started using was actually the payment plan module, and it helped us a lot. Actually, we have been failing to track our data. We're failing to service our debts. But when we adopted the large module, that's the debt tracking module, it helped us a lot. That's the first module. So we decided that we should actually adopt some other modules. But the thrust is to have LADs being a fully blown ERP for City of Mutare, you know. We used to process papers manually. Papers were moving from one office to the other, but during that pandemic, said we should have a paperless office as a city. And we started with the voucher management module, where we manage our vouchers from initiation payment, then the procurement. It's from requisitions, approval, buying, up to the payment. It's paperless. So those are the two key modules, and they were a major success. In 2020, we didn't have any issue on vouchers, on documentation, because if you miss it, you will simply go in the database, print, and give orders. So we didn't have any issue for 2020 and 2021. So those two were functional. And with the fund management system, ring fencing, the control of funds, because we practice what we call the ring fencing of accounts, and the commitment register, because we upload our budget in LADs. So the commitment aspect is being managed through LADs. So those were the first two modules. But of course, we had some challenges. We moved on to business licensing. It has been automated. And, we say maybe we should come up with an inventory management system. That's the stores module. We are issuing fuel as well as stores issues through the large system. You capture in the mileage. We have managed to plug some leakages with this stores module and to account for our inventory. We have partnered with LADs and they come up with a module. That's the tariff modeling module where we cost all our tariffs, be it water, taking into cognizance direct costs, indirect costs, and the government grants, subtracting, so that the system is tailor-made to capture all those issues and come up with the sustainable tariff. We will present the ratepayers. We have got the markets management. Like I've said, it's an ongoing process. We've partnered large and we've provided a lab where people are seated here, and we're actually moving towards the billing. And what we have done, we have started with the markets. Our database now is in LADs, and we are receipting through LADs. We are also billing through LADs. But the next step is for this year, the major issue is like we should come up with the general ledger. So that would have a fully-fledged ERP. We should work on the general ledger, then we'll work on billing, on some other issues like water and like, but the markets billing is working very much well. We are accounting for our markets, how much people owe City of Mutare and payment, and also the printing of statements. We're actually working on a water meter management. It's work in progress. We would be using geo-coordinates and the metering. That's the evidence that the worker has reached someone's house. And we have been uploading it in our billing module. These slides have helped us a lot, and we are looking at, say, it should be a fully-fledged ERP, and we should support them. They should support us. The good thing is, if we see areas of improvement, the people are on the ground who say, just improve here and there. Of course, we have got the human resources management as well as the performance management, certification of work done. We are doing it. It's automation electronically. The certification is done electronically. Once it's certified, to go to procurement, then we would pay. That's how large is helped us. For us to have it is a fully-fledged ERP. This year, our target is we should be working on the general ledger, because all these modules, they should interface in the general ledger. Then once we are done, we have got our own homegrown ERP, and would have solved our problems. When you started LADs, like any system, there could be a resistance. And as a manager, you've got to manage resistance. We just said, we are not going to sign any papers unless they've been processed through LADs. That's how our team have embraced LADs. At first, people were reluctant because we had another ERP we have been using, so people were reluctant. But when people have used that, people now are very much eager to use LADs. It's user-friendly. You can make some adjustments, so everybody is now excited and wants to use LADs. The revenue collection efficiency by then, before the uptake of LADs, was somewhat 33%, but we are hovering between 66 to 76. But we're failing to pay like statutory deductions, you know. But we are current right now. I got my tax clearance for the whole year. I think on the 7th, I got a tax clearance, and for local authorities to get a tax clearance, it's a mammoth task.
My name is Tulani Ndlovu. I'm the procurement manager for City of Mutare. The procurement is a section under the Department of Town Clerks. And our procurement is done central. So our procurement benefited a lot from the introduction of the digital procurement system from LADS. We introduced a procurement module which has got a number of sub-modules into it. Prior to the digitization, we were doing all our paperwork was done outside the system manual. You know, manual is cumbersome. We were losing some documents, accusation of delays or missing documents. So when we started, it's around 2020, where we introduced the LADS module for procurement, which was designed solely for us from scratch with the heat engineering. Heat engineers, they were helping us, they were working with us to develop the procurement module. So currently, we are using the LADS system from requisitioning. You will notice that the requisition starts by the user departments. All our various departments are now have access to LADS for procuring module and a requisition. So they raise their requisition and they see authorized in the system. There's no paperwork now involved on our LADS system. We just raise the requisition from the user. It goes to the HOD, it goes to the finance for funding. When it comes to procurement, it's now ready for funding, which is in line with our act, whereby we are supposed to do procurements for items with funding. So we are now having no challenge. This process is helping us to have efficient procurement. As I speak now, we have recently certified the program on tendering and contract management, which we are going to start using 2023. The LADS system is very good. After we have got the requisition authorized, we do our request for quotation through the system, automated, and we do our purchase orders. They are approved in the system up to delivery. All the delivery certification or verification is done through the system. So it makes life easier for all our documents in terms of audit preparations. All our documents are housed in the procurement module for procurement. How it has helped to improve our efficiency as a section and the service delivery to the residents. I will recommend that our fellow procurement practitioners take it seriously, because it's a homemade program which has full support. You can make changes anytime. There are no foreign component issues of foreigns to say if we want to amend this, we have some funding. It's a homegrown solution. So I recommend that all our procurement entities for local government especially, we take up the modules for procurement. It will help you as a practitioner to cut down some, in procurement there are a lot of blame games, which people always say things are at procurement, while that's not true. So I emphasize that we take the module serious.
My name is Messi Nongo. I'm the HR manager in the office of the town clerk. I would like to express what LADS has done for us, the local authorities digital system. In the past, we used to have our leave administration on paperwork. We would print quite a number of paper for us to administer all forms of leave, be it vacation, sick leave. But now we are now using LADS. Everything is now digitalized. And every employee applies for leave in the system, and it's approved there and there. and then it records to the time in attendance management module that we have. I'm sure you have noticed we have a biometric registration at the entrance there, and it will now go and record that this particular employee is on leave, and it will, they interact, the system, it interacts that way, and it has assisted us a lot. Also, when council employees are traveling on council business, as they apply for their travel and subsistence allowances, it will also indicate, and it feeds to our leave module, that this employee is away on council business, and it also feeds to the time in attendance module to say this employee is no longer required to sign in and sign out on these particular days because they are away on council business. It has come in very handy for us in that we have saved on paper that we were procuring, and it was costly. Now we are doing it in the system, and it's now easy for us to run reports for employees to check on them in terms of attendance and their behavior in terms of attending work. It shows the times that the employee comes in, unlike those manual registers that we were using before. You would have to go through each and every book to see how an employee performs. So in this case, we just run a report, and it will show us the patterns of and behaviors of employees' attendance, and we can now easily take those through disciplinary actions, or to warn them, or to cancel them if there is need for cancelling in terms of time management of our employees. So we really appreciate what LADS has done and what is doing. Although we are still in the beginning phases of it, obviously there are certain areas that we would want to look at, and then we engage the LADS team that has got a lab here for us to work together and see how we can manage those small challenges that we have and how to improve the system as it is.
Basically, with LADS, we have a number of modules that have been developed, and majority of those modules, we can safely say that they are now at 100% in terms of utilization, and we have plans to ensure that we add more modules. It's work in progress. Some of the modules, we are at various levels of implementation. I think to date we can safely talk of about 7 modules that we are implementing as a department. We have the waiting list management, we have stand allocation, list tracking, proper database, cemetery management, market management, file movement. Those are the modules that are specifically for the Department of Housing and Community Services. We have seen a huge improvement following the adoption of LADS. We've automized most of our services, and for waiting list we are now 100% on LADS. Stand allocation, again, we are now 100% on LADS. The few stands that we allocated last year as council, we allocated using the LADS system, the stand allocation module. And I tell you that we won't be hearing of any double allocation because we allocated utilizing the system. Again, the proper database, all the stands that we have in the city, we have been able to capture them under the proper database module. And the list tracking is work in progress. I think we are almost there. We are actually digitizing and capturing the data for all the properties that we have in the city. And as for the cemetery management, we are at 100% utilization. Market management, again, we can safely say we are almost at 99% utilization of the market management module. And the file movement, again, we are at 100% in terms of utilization. So the changes that we have seen from implementing these modules is such that for waiting list, we are now able to generate the waiting list number automatically. It's no longer the manual, so the system generates on its own, and it also helps us to analyze the information, the data that we capture. We can produce reports from the system, generate reports. We can see trends using the waiting list module. And I think the other advantage is that the system is also linked to the bulk SMS module. And when it comes to the proper database, what we are doing now, we are in the process of digitizing and scanning all the files that we have. Everything that is contained in a file is being scanned. We have started the process to scan all the documents. For markets management, yes, again, we have been able to register all the traders in the system. We've also introduced a waiting list. Prior to that, people used to write letters to the Director of Housing, and there wasn't a proper waiting list system for those for traders. Now with the market management, we have introduced a waiting list component. We are able to capture information for all our markets, and it has also been linked with the financial aspect. That's one of the biggest improvements that we've had, especially in the past year, which is 2022. So with the system now, with the market management, the permits are issued in the system, you sign digital, so it's easy, and the process has become simpler, and we are able to issue permits within the shortest period of time. With the introduction of gadgets that we have, the moment a client or a trader pays, it's reflected in the market management system. And what it does is that even ourselves, we are now able to track, to say this person, this trader is not being paid and is in violation of a permit. We can easily see that information in our offices, right by the click of a button. So it means we are also able now to track our traders, and there has been a huge improvement in terms of revenue collection for our markets in the past year because of that system. The Minister of Local Government and even His Excellency the President has also encouraged local authorities to adopt the local authority digital system. We need to automize our services as local authorities. We need to improve the way we manage our services, the way we manage our resources. We also need to improve the way that our response time to our clients, that is service delivery. So with utilization of LADs, you are able to improve in terms of records management, records keeping, information management. You are also able to improve your response time to clients, the way you serve your clients. So automation is the way to go. Without doubt, as local authorities, I think if you compare with the private sector is already on the digital side. It was mostly the local authority or the public sector that was lagging behind, and we need to move with the times. We need to move with the times and ensure that we also automize our services.
Working with the Harare Institute of Technology, particularly in the area of the local authorities digital service, has given us a lot of mileage. Mileage in the sense that local authorities do a multiple of activities that ensure service delivery, and without digitalization we would not be able to judge whether they are doing very well. So for those local authorities that have taken up LADs, we can see significant movement towards better service, better management of their finances, better management even of their land management, housing, and we think that this must continue to be intensified. So we think that the local authorities that have taken up this have increased, and that's why we now have, when I had the budget, there were 52, now you are telling me there are 53, and we hope that we will accelerate this pace. The budget is your most active plan, which tells you about what you are doing in all sectors. So the fact that we have had an increase in the area of budgeting, and we want to reach 100% in the area of budgeting. Our second aspect of what they must take over is the expenditure side. So you have your income side and you have your expenditure side, how to do the controls. This is where service delivery becomes
absolutely necessary. So we have already put notice to all the local authorities because of some of this resistance that all the local authorities this year will be on LADs. And the Minister of Finance and ourselves have said you take up 10% of your devolution funds and you use it for LADs, and we'll make sure that it is the first tranche that you will be getting from the Minister of Finance. So we have put it on record that this is a priority number one for 2023, and we will ensure that we break those who are resisting it. The world is going digital. There's no question about it. In all the activities, human activities, the world is going digital. And local authorities are not an exception. And we think that the next few years we have to push for digitalization of all the applications by local authorities. But we are also aware that there are those who continue to want to use digitalization with applications that are imported from outside. And again, as I said, we thank the President for pushing universities to domesticate this digitalization. And we think that what we are doing with it is what the President really wants. And we are going to be pushing for digitalization because it's a necessity for all the local authorities. So we are very happy with the LADs and the university for what they are doing, and they must continue to work very hard with our people. We think it's a good initiative. It is in line with, again, what I said, the President pushing for our own inventors, our own people coming up with systems that are applicable to Zimbabwe. Yes, they must get a lot of assistance from outside, but at the end of the day, domesticate whatever you are doing so that it becomes Zimbabwean.